folks. So it's day 6 of our snowy mountain ride in New South Wales, and today we're heading down into Victoria. So we're currently in the little snowy town of Bombala in southern New South Wales in the Alps. Behind me here is the accommodation we stayed at last night, so it's the Imperial Hotel. Very, very rich history there. It was, I can't remember what year it was built, but it was in the 1800s. We've stayed there plenty of times. It's been completely refurbed now. The previous times we've stayed there, it was pretty poor quality, to be honest. So in the 1800s, the owners burnt it down for insurance purposes. The husband was subjected to, or charged and subjected to 8 years hard labour, and the wife was charged and subjected to 3 years hard labour working on road construction. So times were pretty tough back in those days. But it's a beautiful pub now. So today we're heading to Bright in the state of Victoria in Australia. It's about a 6-hour ride all up. We'll first head to Can River, that's about an hour, and we'll stop there for a bit of coffee and a bit of brekkie. Then over to Hotham along the Princes Highway, and then up Omeo Way to, or Alpine Way to Omeo, and then up to Mount Hotham, which is a ski resort, and then down the hill, and it's a big hill, lots of twisties, and we will end up in Bright for the night, which is a beautiful little town. Anyway, I'll see you on the road. Alpine Road runs from Wangaratta in the north to Bairnsdale in the east, passing through the Victorian Alps. The road was given its current name because it was considered the mountain equivalent to Victoria's world-famous Great Ocean Road in the southwest of the state. The road usually remains open during winter. However, vehicles travelling between Harriettville and Omeo are required to carry snow chains during the declared snow season, usually June to August. The road winds through mountains, valleys and forests, past rivers, vineyards and farms. At a length of 304 kilometres or 189 miles, it's Australia's highest year-round accessible sealed road. The section over Mount Hotham, which we visit today, rises to an altitude of 1,800 metres or 6,000 feet. It's blanketed with snow during winter months and must be snow ploughed on a daily basis to keep it open. The road's a popular tourist route, offering a range of summer activities like walking, cycling and camping, and in the winter months, snow sports such as skiing, snowmobiling and snowboarding. Glenn and I have ridden this road many times in the past and it never gets old. It's a motorcyclist's dream, with minimal traffic, tight twisties and high-speed sweepers, radical changes in elevation, scenic lookouts, iconic mountain towns and crystal clear rivers. This is one of our favourite roads in all of Australia. The Omeo region has a complex and intriguing history. The pioneering cattlemen of the high country and the Chinese miners of the Livingstone diggings have all left their marked reminders of each era across the region. The official discovery of gold in 1851 forever changed the region. The vastness of Australia's largest alluvial gold diggings is noticeable, with cliffs more than 100 feet high and a maze of underground tunnels crisscrossing the oriental claims near Omeo, some of the richest in the state. The claims are heritage listed and set around Livingstone Creek. Remnants of the town's gold mining history can also be found at the King Cassilis mine on Cassilis Road. The town centre of Omeo is situated on the slope of a hill, offering scenic views over the many historic buildings in town. The A.M. Pearson Historical Park features the town's courthouse and the original police jail. The Omeo Justice Precinct is described as the most intact example of a 19th century police and court complex known to survive in Victoria.
Large cappuccino.
Oh, we got ear tag.
What I'm looking for.
What are we going, big boy?
Great roads. Loved it.
Best roads ever.
Fucking best roads ever.
The High Country Cattleman is iconic for his horsemanship, bushcraft skills and resourcefulness. The region started with agriculture and returned to it after the gold rush was over. Fishing is a popular activity in the many creeks and waterways in the area, while there are many picturesque small communities and scenic lookouts on a number of the roads around the beautiful town of Omeo. We've been to Mount Hotham many times, even in freezing conditions when snow lined the road on both sides. But today was a perfect day with beautiful, sunny, warm weather. The road we travelled from Omeo was mainly sweepers with very few twisties, but the best was yet to come. The road from Mount Hotham down the mountain to Harriettville was very steep, with extreme twisties the entire way, a road not to be undertaken by the novice rider. Prior to the cutting of the Alpine road from Harriettville to Omeo, early access to Mount Hotham was via the Bon Accord track, which can still be travelled as a hiking trail from Harriettville to the Razorback and on to Mount Hotham. Years ago, my Silver Gypsy wife Mish and I had ridden this very road down to Harriettville in extreme fog, with visibility down to less than 20 feet. Needless to say, it was a very slow trip. There are sheer cliffs on one side and sometimes both sides of the road, so wits have to be very sharp. The area is also prone to black ice in frigid conditions, and the weather can change for the worse very quickly in these mountains. The ski resort of Mount Hotham rests atop the Great Dividing Range, near the highest point of any main road in Australia. It's a rarity in that it's the only ski resort in the Southern Hemisphere to be situated at the top of the mountain rather than its base, rewarding visitors with wide open views as far as the eye can see. To its east are the Bogong High Plains, where the waters run inland to the Murray River. Across the divide to the west are the Dargo High Plains, where the waters run to the sea. Snow occurs frequently and heavily, and sub-freezing maximum temperatures can be recorded throughout the year, even in high summer. However, due to frequent winter cloud and the mountain's exposed position, a temperature below minus 10 degrees Celsius or 14 degrees Fahrenheit has only once occurred since records began in 1990. Black Hole refers to the geographic location in the upper reaches of the Ovens River. Named by miners who lived and passed through this ravine, it was cursed, for during the long winter months, the sun barely reached the deepest recesses of the valley. Miners living in the locality complained that bedding and clothing were always damp and cold in this damn black hole. A miner synonymous with the black hole was Peter Macduff. Macduff moved into the locality in the early 1890s after unsuccessfully prospecting over the range in the Upper Dargo. He used to bathe in the river every day, even in winter, and used a piece of hessian as a towel. He lived in the black hole until 1919, when he became ill and was moved to the Bright Hospital. This 20-mile stretch of road from Mount Hotham to the little snow village of Harrietville is radical twisties the whole way. It has to be one of the most technical motorcycle roads in Australia. There are minimal guardrails to enable winter ploughing, and one mistake could send you plummeting hundreds of feet below due to the sheer drop. Black ice is rife in the colder months, adding to the risk. This ride is not recommended for the novice rider. Luckily, we have experienced riders on this trip, and to add to that, I'm following Glenn. Glenn has advanced skills that he has brought into the motorcycling world from his career in motor racing. He is a former Australian go-kart racing champion who placed first in 2005 and 2006 in the Australian national titles at Port Macquarie in New South Wales. Racing runs in his family. His father Alan was a motorcycle racer in the 1950s, winning at Australia's premier motorcycle race, Bathurst, in 1959 on a Triumph. He is number 61 in the pick. He was also Australian stock car champion in 1959. I've known Alan for many years and love hearing his racing stories. Unfortunately, he's been suffering from an illness, and we wish him all the best. We're about 15 minutes out of Bright along the Great Alpine Road. I've got Glenn, Trampus, Tags, Tez all up in front of me. It's been a pretty long, challenging day. Gotten pretty hot since we came down off the mountain. But, you know, what a great ride. We've had it all. We've had mountains, rivers, valleys, twisties, sweepers, you name it. We were pretty disappointed the pub at Harrietville was shut. We always stop there for a beer. But anyway, next year. Anyway, we're all looking forward to checking into the pub we're staying at tonight. And yeah, the order of the day I suppose is going to be 7 very cold beers. Well, we all made it to Bright, and first order before check-in was a couple of beers, as we were very thirsty lads after a monumental and memorable ride. It didn't help that Harriettville pub was shut. Tez and Tags decided on a bit of R&R, and Glenn and Trampus ventured down to the Bright Brewery. I decided to explore the town for a little bit, even though I'd been here many times, before joining the lads at the brewery. Overlooking the river, parks and mountains, Bright Brewery is an ideal destination for a beer and a meal. The brewery was born in 2005 in two small tin sheds with only limited outdoor seating. In 2012, Bright Brewery underwent substantial redevelopment, transforming it into an environmentally considered multi-purpose all-weather venue with seating capacity for over 250 people. I joined Glenn and Trampus outside on the hot terrace overlooking the riverside parkland with an Alpine lager, or maybe a few, telling lies about who rode the best down the mountain. The result is still being debated to this day. Join the Silver.gypsies on our next episode as we ride from Bright to the beautiful country town of Corryong.